Welcome to Politics 101. I was muted all the time. Welcome to Politics 101. I was saying that as we come on air tonight, we notice that there are disciplinary charges that were recommended over the order to the cops to follow Aubrey Norton. We understand that Alistair Roberts, who was then the deputy commander of Region 4, Superintendent Alistair Roberts, was the one who gave the order. This is what the police investigation has revealed, and that the DPP or the Complaints Authority has recommended disciplinary charges against him. Welcome to Politics 101. We are on our way tonight. We are expecting Attorney at Law Darren Wade to drop by to be our guest tonight. So here we are. Welcome to you if you're joining us from Guyana, wherever in Guyana you are, whether you are in Linden, whether you are on the east coast of Demerara, of course, where Ground Zero is in Golden Grove. Welcome to Politics 101. Welcome to Politics 101. You know, the issue of Mr. Hinds' appointment still is not resolved. The government is saying that they had to appoint him using the doctrine of necessity, and that they were fearful of Venezuela. So they had to have a commissioner. So they had to rush to appoint him because of national security issues. We know that Paul Williams was next in line and could have been asked to act in that position. We also want to know, what does a commission of police have to do with Venezuela? Isn't that the army story? Oh Lord, this thing is getting hot. This thing is getting hot. So here we are, Politics 101 tonight. Tell your friends, share the link. We want a full house tonight. Attorney at Law Darren Wade is joining us. He's already backstage and ready to roll with us. So the police has also, the DPP, I understand, has recommended that there be no criminal charges against the policemen at Vigilance Police Station who were accused of burning young Peters from Annandale. They have recommended that there be departmental charges, no criminal charges. We'll talk to the attorney about that. I noticed Attorney U.C. Anderson is on that case. So that's another big issue. We see Mr. Jagdeo and the president are saying, Mr. Jagdeo and Irfan Ali, they're saying that there will be an investigation into Sugate, but they are investigating businessmen who gave middlemen money. Well, we want to investigate the people who the middlemen were working for in the government. They don't want to investigate that. They want to investigate the businessmen who were dealing with middlemen. So we have quite a bit to talk about tonight. Darren Wade is here with us. Welcome to Politics 101. I am telling you, I've been around this thing for a long time, and I have never seen a government that is galloping towards a dictatorship in so much of trouble. And I say so much of trouble because they're not getting away with anything. That is what has changed. In the old days, governments could get away. They control the media and so on. Now, because of our vigil, because of this new media, where we are always in front of the stories. We are on air every night, every morning. We are on their cases. You think a superintendent who gave an order to follow the opposition leader would have been fingered by the police? No, no. But that can happen now because we are on top of the stories every day. That is why they want us to get off these platforms. So you all know my mantra. We are winning. We are winning. When we can get them to do things that they would not normally do, we are winning. In political science, we usually say the definition, one of the definitions of politics is political power, is the ability to get people to do things that they would not normally do. That's one of the definitions of political power. And we are getting the police to do things that they would not normally do. We have gotten a murder charge against the person or one of the persons that allegedly shot Quindon Bacchus. We have been able to say there are other people who are on the scene and we want them charged. We have a policeman saying he was told by higher ups to give false evidence. These things do not normally happen in the Guyana police force. The definition of political power is the ability to get people to do things they would not normally do. Here is it. We are getting the institutions of state to do things that they would not normally do. When which government you think will get catch with Sugate and bow that there will be an investigation? Of course, they're trying to say they will investigate the people. But the fact that they're talking about an investigation means we are winning. A glass can be half empty or it can be half full. I think on our side, it's now half full. We are winning. We are winning. We are winning in a way that we had not been winning before. Thanks to Golden Grove. Thanks to Golden Grove. Thanks to Golden Grove. The fear is being broken down. And now we have the government on the back foot. We have them fishing outside the off stump, playing down the wrong line. We have them below the run rate that is needed. We are winning. Welcome to Politics 101. Tell others we are on tonight. We are on tonight. We are on tonight. We are on tonight. We are halfway there. Half of the seats are still to be filled. Please share the link. Please finish giving your children the dinner and be ready for Politics 101. Welcome to you who are joining us from North America, from Europe, England, from the wider Caribbean. Welcome to Politics 101. Welcome to Politics 101. We have lots to talk about tonight, so let's go straight to our guest, Darren, one of the busiest lawyers around. Darren and and Nigel Hughes, and I notice AUC Anderson is now busy because we can't prosecute this struggle without. Darren, welcome, my brother.
Well, thank you, and good night to yourself and to your viewers, brother.
Well, a lot has been happening. I know you were traveling, but thanks to technology, you can now travel with Guyana in front of you every minute of the day. We saw what happened at Golden Grove, the shooting of that young man, the protest, resistance by the people of Golden Grove. We saw the police being forced to act. We feel that they have not acted as they should act, that there are other issues involved, there are other people on the scene. What's your general assessment of that Quindon Bacchus shooting and everything that followed from that?
Well, if you could recall, as soon the next day, I gave a statement on behalf of the family, in particular the mother, um, the grandfather, the grandmother, and an aunt. I issued a statement, and I recall when I issued the statement, a lot of persons came for me, stating that I should not have called it an execution. Um, but we see what investigation came out with. I believe that statement was very critical to the investigation of the matter that's currently before the court. Um, in addition to this, the statement being given, calling for charge and so on, what is important? The family asked for the support of the Guyanese public, and that was the last call in that statement that I issued on behalf of the family, and certainly the entire Guyana rallied around the family of Quindon Bacchus. And if it wasn't for that rallying and that support, I don't believe any charges would have been laid. As we all are aware, what was stated in court, as you rightfully mentioned, one of the police charge stated that he was instructed to give a false statement. So certainly the public pressure, and as you rightfully mentioned, Brother Hinds, political pressure. We are winning political because we are seeing efforts being made. I would like to add to that. Even as a result of the same old Quindon Bacchus issue and so forth, there's a large contingent of the PPP administration, I am duly informed, is preparing to go very soon to Washington, D.C. To claim that they have clean hands. Brother Hinds, are you there?
I'm here. Wow, 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 wow. So they're going to say they have clean hands. But you're right, the pressure was intense. Let's talk about some technical aspects of the case. We understand there were 7 or more people on the scene. 3 of them have been charged. Given your experience of dealing with these matters, because you have dealt with these matters before, do you think that there may be some others there who may have been culpable?
Well, I don't. This is a matter before the court and so on, and the
Yeah.
jury will have to be. It have to deal with the matter and so forth. I do not want to go dive into the issues and so on, but I read and I understand the concerns in relation to other men being there and so forth, and what was the procedure of the investigation and so on. At some point, one will be want to see what these are the statements and see the steps that would have been taken by the Guyana police force in relation to their investigation and so forth. But that's the extent that I want to treat with it now, because it's currently a matter before the court. It's a matter that will have to, at some point in time, the jury will have to, because in our judicial system, it's the jury who determine your trial by your peers. So I want to stay away more or less from get into more details of my views and so on. I don't want anyone to want to use it as a defense or anything of the sort.
Right. I was making the point, Darren, there in the introduction, that in all these instances of extrajudicial killings, we have never seen policemen who were being investigated actually, in a sense, what we call singing, saying somebody told me to give false evidence. People, policemen are beginning to defend themselves. Is that usual when you're dealing with these matters?
First of all, I believe the lawyer who represents the young man, I know him very well, and the lawyer has to be a brave lawyer, because a lawyer with courage. I believe I read in the news it was Mr. Everson saying Lamy. Lamy is one of my classmates. I have the greatest respect for Mr. Lamy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's representing the gentleman who said that he was instructed to do that, which is troubling. I don't believe Lamy was an officer of the court is going to lie to the court. He has a responsibility as an officer of the court first before your client. So I believe that those statements by Mr. Lamy that I read in the news reflected the instructions of the gentleman. And it shows you that the intent is to cover up. That could only be it.
Yes, the intent is to cover up. As we come on here tonight, we have this news that has broken over the last 24 hours that a superintendent in the police force is being disciplined for giving the order to follow Aubrey Norton. This was after the commander in the district said he did not give the instruction. The president said he did not. The commissioner said he did not. The minister of Home Affairs said he did not. I didn't think the president spoke, but certainly the minister of Home Affairs, the commissioner, the commander. Now we are hearing here that the deputy commander is the one who gave the order. Comment on that?
Well, Mr. Norton, Mr. Dr. Hinds, the gentleman who in the news who who is being charged is someone who I know personally, and I believe generally is a good young man. My view on the whole incident is that as a young officer there, a young black officer, and what was going on, I would like to believe some pressure was bearing on him. So and all of the police officers, so they believe that somehow something must be done to please the state. They always feel threatened. There's always this thing over their head, the sense of victimization and so forth. So certainly, I know certainly that Mr. Norton himself will have no ill will against those two officers that was riding behind, and even the officer that they claim instructed to do that, because we understand the culture and we understand the circumstances that would have led to that purported instructions, if so be it.
And I'm so glad you made that point there, Brother Darren, because these policemen, and they're mostly men,
yes,
must understand that you must not carry out unlawful orders. You must not give unlawful orders. It may be the case that the policeman may have on his own decide this is what the political bosses will like, and I will do it. It could be that somebody gave him a direct order and he has decided, look, I'm going to be the fall guy. It's not a criminal charge. It's just a disciplinary charge. I'm not going to reveal the political boss who called me and told me to follow this man. But this is where I think these policemen have to begin to learn.
The problem is that since the police, the PPP has gotten into the power, we don't have, it's quite clear that we don't have a professional police force in Guyana any longer. We have a political police force. I believe the morale in the entire country for the police is very low. The police are no longer walking with their head high when Granger was in power, because they feel that they could have done their job and do it well. We see what's happening in Bartica several issues. You see one family, two broke. I mean, it was the Bell family. They were fighting or actually beat up the police in the police station. Nothing came out of the police. You ever put another man, and we see it in the video, man of Indian descent was cussing up the police, we government. So the morale and the courage for the police to do their job is not there because of the discipline, the transfer, they're not going to be the discrimination and so forth. It's a phone call away. So you have to feel, you have to empathize with those two police officers and also Officer Roberts. And I'm going to speak to the leader at some point, and I'm going to ask him to give a statement to that effect, because these are not the people that we want to be charged. These are not the people that we want, you know. And today it was brought to my attention by one of these same police officers riding motorbikes on the road. You know, they see you and they come and they talk to you and say, Mr. Wade, there's an issue. There's a young man from the Guyana police force. He was just qualified or about to be qualified as an attorney at law. He has his master's, he has several degrees. And there's a stooge at some point in time, it may reach before the court, that the young man made, because I intend to speak to someone and to see how we could deal with it. He was not despite of his service, the food was not promoted by this illegal commission that they have here. But all of these things need to be challenged, because at some point in time, this thing must stop. One of the biggest issue in the Guyana police force, we have an unlawful piece of legislation that says that the police officers are not allowed to have unions. So that is one thing that we must attack. That is one thing that we must attack. Is the police not having a union and so forth. So I think as a society, we are getting there. You mentioned lawyers like UC Anderson. I noticed Dexter Todd. There's Mr. Hughes. There's Royce Ford. You know, someone said to me, when the people get in power and they was locking up people was running, hiding. Darren, you were the first person out of the block. You were the fighter. You know, so I'm happy to be associated with this. You know, so I know a lot of our persons that you're the lawyers field, you know, they're not encouraged, you know, because they felt that when we were in government over the 5 years, somehow, you know, areas whereby we could have assisted, we did not. And we use our and the then government rather, well, as use our office to empower, further empower and entrench those persons who are aligned with the PPP, whilst we were in government, you know. And then Nandalan made the point that, you know, in politics, you know, when you're in office, you need to assist your people level or something at the start, you know. So yeah, so I'm saying a lot of lawyers feel that they were not, you know, so there's no reason for them to come out and bat for us and so on. But it's good to see people that are coming out, and we want more persons to be part of the struggle. I believe it must not be about individuals. It must be about what is right or wrong. You know, I for several days I've been pondering. You know, I was saying that the biggest threat to our freedom since emancipation, it is the PPP and the Barrett Jagdeo led Irfan Adi administration. The comrade leader like to make the point that Barrett Jagdeo is the second vice president, because really and truly the first vice president is
Mark Phillips.
Right. So Jagdeo should not be termed as the vice president. Rather, he should be termed as the second vice president. You like to make that point. So I'm making the point that we are seeing persons who are now coming out and are willing to challenge the PPP, which is great. You know, and that is one other way whereby we could challenge the PPP is by having lawyers who are ready to go on in combat against them. I every day they're making mistakes. You know, it's just a matter of having persons who are willing and ready to file actions against them, and having individuals who are ready to place them and associate themselves with the struggle.
Thank you very much, and I'm so glad you raised the point of professionals, lawyers, coming out and making their contributions. And I want to talk to the policemen I hope you all are seeing when the chips are beginning to fall, you all are left on your own. Yes, they may protect you from criminal charges, but your name will be out there. You would be on shame bench. Everyone will know now. Everyone will know now that there is a superintendent named Alistair Roberts who gave the order, for policemen to follow the opposition leader, to follow Mr. Norton. Whether he took that order from a political boss or whether he did it because he felt that's what the political bosses would do. Now that you're being disciplined, the whole of Guyana will know you. The whole of Guyana will call you.
Let me make a point.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me come and make a point. It is my opinion, if the commander had given that instruction, he would not have been charged. He would not have been embarrassed. No.
Here you go. Here you go. Here you
no
go.
thing or no Posada or nobody who give that instruction, that's my respectful opinion, he would not have been charged. This government is a biased government. It is a racist government. And persons who they believe that are on their side, that are the stooges, they would never, any persons, any person they believe are close to them, any person believe that a phone call away that could do the bidding, they will not. Not saying that the commander up there are doing any of these things. However, what I'm saying, I don't believe that he would have been charged if he had given that instruction, or even whether or not he do it and say it's not me.
People are saying that they're protecting the Indian members of the police force. In the Quinlan Bacchus case, we understand there were Indians on the scene, and people are saying that though they have not been charged. Here you make a very important case, and we have to stress to these black policemen. We have to talk to them. I keep saying that.
I don't think talking to them. We need to talk to their mothers. The mothers in society, those are the one that we would need to talk to. Oh, I need to get back to the point that I was making, because it slipped me what I was wanting to say in relation to emancipation. It is not the PPP who is the threat to our freedom. It is not the Barry Jack, that is a threat to our freedom. It is ourselves. Those persons that we like to call our slave, those persons who are prepared to sell their soul for 30 pieces of silver. This must be an inclusive coalition that is made up of civil society, the opposition, official opposition, and so on. Everyone has a part to play in this struggle.
Everyone has a part to play in this struggle.
You see, the church has its part to play. I remember when AP and UFC was in power, the church was very important, very forefront. I remember Grange having them there, except I believe the Anglican Church. I see the Anglican bishop is the only one who's on social media, always commenting and always saying something. The right Reverend Charles Davis, I notice he makes comments from time to time. He's generally not afraid. But there's churches that I believe, for example, the churches on Darren Street that has a large following. I haven't seen it. Bishop Messiah, where are you? Come on, let's hear your voice. You remember the struggle in the United States of America involved the church play a major role. I noticed that the CIOG made a statement supporting the PPP and the nonsense the other day. But we don't expect better from them. The Catholic Church. Where is the Catholic Church? I remember the Catholic Church in the month we had the Catholic Church was very vocal. Where is the Catholic Church today? Everyone has a part to play.
And our people are churchgoers, not just churchgoers. We contribute to the church financially. We think. Welcome down to Politics 101.
And those are the ones that are a threat to our freedom.
Those are the ones who are
of silver, because you're going and sing one Guyana. Singing one Guyana cannot bring one Guyana. You have to see equitable and fair distribution of our wealth and our resources among all of our people. That is what we want. Proper policies that are inclusive. Not that when the people of Monrepo protest, you run down there and you use it as an opportunity to pay them more than they deserve. Yes, what happened to them, I condemn it, it was wrong. And they always mischievous people when you have legitimate protests. The PPPs are also known, and this is a fact, for placing hooligans in protests. To say, oh, look, them black man do this. Those persons who are to know better, regardless of race, that are in office, but are turning a blind eye and are facilitating the PPP unlawfulness, those persons are a threat to our freedom. Not the PPP, not the Afan Ali, the Barrett Jack Dio led Afan Ali administration. It is ourselves that is a threat to
Tough
our
talk here
freedom.
tonight. Tough talk here tonight from attorney Darren Wade, who's zero in, who is pointing tonight at our own community, our own policemen who are carrying out unlawful orders. Stop it. Look, when they're ready to make sacrificial lambs, who they're making, you all stop it. They're ready to throw you all under the bus when they get catch. Stop carrying out this order, Officer Collins. I am sure, I don't know you. I don't know you, Officer Alistair Collins. I don't know you. But your name has been muddied. You think that you were doing what your political bosses wanted, or you were carrying out the order that they want you. No, you are left on shame bench. And other black police officers must take heed. Black people, stop working against your own people. Go ahead.
It is alleged at this point. This is alleged that he did it. It's an allegation.
Yeah, yes, it's an allegation, but
At
they
this
said
point.
he'll be disciplined.
But
So,
they try to show that they want to throw him under the bus.
yes, but that's the point we are making.
It's a mere allegation.
The point we are making is that black police officers need not carry out unlawful orders.
And as it may be, while Mr. Akins may believe at this point, I don't know, that they may favor him. But if need come, they will throw him under the bus too.
That's it. That's it. And that's the message we want to send to these black police officers. Do your work. Do your work. Do your work. Do your work professionally. Yes, you will make mistakes here and there, but do not carry out unlawful orders. Yes, my brother.
Yes, and not only police officers, the various offices in the country. You know, I often say this when I have an opportunity to be here. When there's something fishy going along, and so on, take pictures, take records. We all have cell phones. Take a picture, take a snap video, do whatever you could do secretly. And afterward, you could come to point like myself, like you, brother, and just share with some of us who you could trust with that information. Do what is necessary, the unlawfulness. Do that. You may not be bold enough to do it yourself, but there are persons who are prepared to do it for you. But do your part. Do the groundwork for us. And we're going to report it. We're going to take it to court. We are going to do what is necessary.
And there you have it from Darren Wade, who is with us tonight, one of our young lawyers. And as we said, we notice other lawyers are coming on board now and are defending those who need to be defended. Welcome to the people of Golden Grove. I see some of you on here tonight. The novella is on tonight. I noticed Robin earlier on tonight, one of the leading lights in the struggle there. Those two ladies were on here 2 nights ago, and we've gotten so much positive feedback from that program. That we made it a human issue. yes, it's political, but to see two mothers, to hear them 2 nights ago on this program, really speaking to the Quindon Bacchus issue as mothers, it really brought us back to reality that, yes, these issues are political, but they're also about human beings. They're also about our humanity. And when you reach a point in a country where you have two different standards for groups of humanity and human beings, then we are in trouble. We are in trouble as a society. We are in trouble as a society. Again, they're saying that Mr. Hickens' appointment was done because of necessity. They invoked the doctrine of necessity, and they're saying it was a national security issue, Venezuela, and so on, and they had to have a commissioner on board. Do you buy that?
Let me, before I get to your question, let me say I have no ill will against Mr. Hickens. Mr. Hickens and me, we go to the same church oftentimes. At peace, we hug up and we greet one another. I have no ill will against Mr. Hickens. But let me address the PPP. He may be a victim of the PPP nonsense. And the PPP may force him to be embarrassed. But I believe that defense is garbage. The police force is not in charge, is not responsible for the protection of our border. I could see the court wading into them, because that's what I could see as an attorney from my point of view. The Guyana Police Force has no responsibility and role for the protection of our border. That is solely for the Guyana Defense Force. The Guyana Police Force primarily role, and I could be corrected, is for internal security. I believe it's a case of a jungling man snatching a straw. That is what I see. The issue of necessity is not valid in this case. The issue of necessity is whereby you need a government and need someone to be there. In this case, we are arguing that there are someone who could be rightfully be there. There's a senior officer who should, by the issue of seniority, be the person leading the police force before someone is confirmed in the acting position. That is the argument.
That is the argument. That is that they wrongfully invoked the doctrine of necessity. So
that
what happens now, Darren?
That has no place. It is like trying to put a wrong peg in a square hole or a triangle hole. It can't fit. But Mr. Nandalal is known for gymnastics. He's a gymnastic attorney at law. He is the only person in the world since God made earth to sue himself. You can recall that case? When he sued himself?
Yes.
The only man in the world to sue himself. Legal gymnastics. My learned friend.
Yes. The point is here, as we've been saying all the time, because we are on top of the ball, because we are in front of them, because we are constantly exposing them, because of work that people like yourself are doing. You all are coming on to these programs and you all are explaining to us the things. You all are educating us. We are exposing them. They are not able to get away with these things. Now they have to lie and to say that, oh, we had to appoint the man because of Venezuela. Trying to make fools of us, as if we don't know that defending the country against Venezuela is first and foremost soldier job, army job, not the job of the police.
The PPP oftentimes believe that they're speaking to their supporters and the support base when they make certain foolish statements. You know, Amanza made a statement that got them upset, that persons who support PPP are intellectually lazy. But my sister Amanza wasn't wrong.
Yes.
Because if the PPP have a way in having an apple in your hand and tell you it's banana, and then you're running with it, what it is, you must be intellectually lazy. There's this young man right now that is being trolled on Facebook for fake degree. fake doctor. We laughing at him. But what is Irfan? Is he any different? And let me say this. Irfan Ali is disrespectful and he owes the black community an apology for you. I didn't realize it was you were the one he was speaking to in Buxton. Then he got the police to usher you away. That man is disrespectful. And it was the only time he feel like he had some power when he could get the police to push you away. He's a coward. He had a fake degree, fake self. He has no authority. You hear what Jack Joe said? Sue deals with all business. And I will assist from the government side. And in one of the interviews that was done by one of those resorts or one of those places, the river, whatever the Chinese have there, they said, all you don't need a president. All you need is a vice president. And everything is all right.
We now hear them saying that they're going to do an investigation. They will investigate people who give middlemen money and not investigating the people in the government who have been accused of setting up these middlemen to take money. What are your comments on that?
Well, you see, there again, we as lawyers need to look at that. If they're going to speak at, if they're going to do some investigation, and the investigation is going to be focused on one particular group of persons, then we will need to go to court and file an action against the state, forcing the state to investigate that. So it cannot be an investigation against the people alone. It has to be an investigation that is all-encompassing. So at some point, if they're going to go down that, then we lawyers now will have to institute legal proceedings. We have to get them busy. No rest for the...
Yes, you're back on there with us. Are you hearing me? We seem to have lost Darren there for a minute.
I'm here. I was using my phone. I'm here.
Yes. Yeah. Darren, I want you to listen to this paragraph from the Guyana Times of July 9th, written under Eyewitness, a daily column in the Guyana Times. I have my thesis about who writes this column, but I'll read it for you and the audience. Here we go. The opposition troglodytes are kvetching and worse about President Ali extending compensation as compassion to those Indian Guyanese vendors at Monrepo who'd been robbed, beaten, arsoned, and terrorized by their justice marchers, who had come down like the wolf on the fold and did what wolves do. Wonder what would have happened if those wolves weren't imbued with the spirit of justice. Rape the Sabine women. Anyhow, their attacks have taken two prongs. First, the identity of the victims, and secondly, the source of the funds. Racial strife, of course, is what motivates the first objection. The president is only helping his own. That none of those, presumably not his own, have been violated isn't mentioned. Then they want to know if due diligence was undertaken before the funds were handed over. That's like asking that tests be conducted to ensure that a person raped in full view of the public was actually raped before the help is rendered. Oh, that is Guyana Times. Now, the word rape is mentioned there twice. They describe the protesters, as they call them, the justicers. They describe them as wolves. Rape the Sabine women. Now, that story is an old myth, Greek mythology story of people from one tribe or one community going and abducting the women of another community. Hence the story, Rape the Sabine Women.
But Doctor, as you raise that point,
According to you,
yes,
that writer has invoked that story, suggesting, you all know the story, that's the Americans call it dog whistle. They always believe black men are rapists. And so, raising in that article that the only thing these protesters didn't do was to rape the Indian women at one report. And then later on, using the example, because WPA put out a statement saying that no due diligence was done before the money was shared. And in order to push back against that, they graphically use rape, a woman raped. That is the worst kind of racism. It's more than dog whistle, and that is what the Guyana Times is out there doing. Quite apart from calling black people wolves, they are now saying to Indian people, no, they know black people don't read the Guyana Times. So they're speaking to Indian and saying to Indian men, the next thing they're going to do is rape your women. That is what is going on. And they tell us that we are the ones who preach race. Over to you, Darren.
well, I will advise I would like to see this soonest. I will advise the WPA to make a police complaint, to go down to the CID headquarters and report this. After the report is being made, I believe the lawyers and like myself will be prepared to take it from there. But you must be prepared, as you rightfully mentioned, the Greek mythology and so forth, the other tribe raping the other tribe. Once I believe you give that explanation, you make a police report, we could take it from there. So I believe it's important that for you, the WPA, important to go to the CID headquarters and make a report. And then if they don't take any action, thereafter, actions could be taken. Also make it known, the complaint must be known to Mr. Hinds. It must be known to him. There's also the issue of the gentleman who talk about them black man and so on from Monrepo. I don't know if whether or not he's going to be charged, but I believe steps also must be being taken also for that to also be reported to the police, and let us report it and see what's going to happen.
Darren, we're there weighing in on that Guyana Times article. Dog whistle, the Americans call it. We are being frank here. It's more than dog whistle. It's really saying that black men, black people are out raping women. They're really pushing this. And I'm so glad I've been able to make it public here tonight. I started last night by making it public. And July 9th, the Guyana Times. Darren, we are living in serious times in our country. You're a young black man. You're a lawyer.
But Ms. Hinds, before you move on to that, I'm very serious about that Guyana Times report. I'm very serious. I would like to see action taken. I would like you to undertake and the WPA to make effort to bring it before the police. Because at some point, if no action is taken, the international community will know.
I take your advice quite seriously.
The PPP is going to Washington, and we want, when they're in Washington, this article that the Guyana Times must be raised. I will speak to Rick Ford concerning this article and so forth. So I know what sort of name is doing our bidding, that woman here on Juke Street, Sarah, whatever they call her. So I implore that police report be lodged. We have a printout of that kind of that report, and let us a official report be made for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, attorney. I was saying that you're a young man before being a lawyer and a public person. You are a young man. You're a father, a young father. You are the son of some person. As a young black man, how do you feel living in a country like Guyana in 2020?
Wow. Let me say this, right? I've had conversations with a lot of young professionals, young lawyers, and so on recently, and they all want to leave. They don't feel like they have a place, like they have a valid voice in Guyana. I mean, all young black people are fit for under this government is to go and sing and dance with the president on stage. That's all. You may get 30 pieces of silver to singing and dancing under the charade of one Guyana, but your people are suffering. I remember in the United States of America, musicians refused to go and perform for Donald Trump because of his policies, his divisive policies. I see some of our poorest people encouraging our musicians and them. Oh, you're doing a wonderful job. You're doing this. You're doing that. Oh, one even said oh, God will make you go before great men. Is he finally great with a fake degree, with all those frauds that he did? What is great about Irfan? What is great about him? That our people bowing down and say, "Oh, God will take you before great man." Shame on you. Shame. As I said before, brother Hinds, comrade Hinds, our freedom is threatened by ourselves. We are threatening our freedom. The greatest threat to African Guyanese and all Afghans, regardless of race, is ourselves. Because we are willing to bow down. Who was a guard in the Bible? Was someone called a guard in the Bible? Who was the man that said bow down? Or I can't remember his name. I can't recall his name. I'm incorrect. But they want to bow down to Satan himself, the wicked and evil policies of the PPP for 30 pieces of silver.
And we have to speak to our community. Emancipation is coming up. All of us are going to be putting on our dashikis and African wear and be celebrating our Africanness. But we cannot celebrate our Africanness when we're working against the African cause. When we are working for those who would like to destroy the African group. It is time, I agree with you, that we speak to our people. And we speak very strongly to them because they're aiding and abetting those who would want to undermine and ultimately reduce us to second-class citizens in this country. We've got to speak to our people. We've got mothers, you have to speak to your sons and daughters. Children, you have to speak to your fathers and your mothers and to tell them that they ought not to be doing what they're doing. They're allowing fear. And part of the fear is that as soon as the PPP comes to power, some Black people begin to censor themselves, not quite censure yet, but censor themselves. They're not even waiting for the PPP to tell them bow down. They're beginning to bow down.
I have an idea. Brother Hinds. As I speak to you here, I believe it's important. Sometimes we hear from the mothers of these persons who were set up by the PPP and now left alone. If we could hear what the mothers are saying and how they feel about the situation, and here I believe that is something important that we should try to get. I will reach out to Sharon or someone in the media of Travis. I mean, Travis may be a better person because he may more or less make quote unquote bias because he's in office, but someone who could reach out to them and hear what they have to say.
Yes, yes, it's good if we can get some of those mothers, because mothers do have a lot of influence
Yes.
on their children. They're the ones who have to wake up and cook their food, you know. They're the ones who have to wash their clothes. They're the ones who have to take care of them, to do what mothers do. And they are in the best position to speak to these young people. Um, Darren, let's go back to the Mon Report thing. You referenced it a few moments ago. Um, and you referenced the fact that the president was so quick to go down there, and the media, the mainstream media, was so quick to condemn the protesters when it was clear that there were selective people in the audience, in the crowd, among the marchers who did that stuff at Monrepo. And then they left and went back to Georgetown, the president and the media. And then later that night, the police with the army rained terror on Golden Grove, shooting at women, children indiscriminately, going into a church and turning it into a war zone.
They went into the church.
Were not around. Yes, they went into the church.
But I see. I was out of the country. I'll be back. I will go to that is I will have to visit back Golden Grove very soon, and I will love to meet with the pastor and those of the church. I will have to go and meet with them and so forth. And I'm prepared to institute proceedings against the state. We have to do that. But you see, the thing is that with these matters, though, I usually win them at the force level. And sometimes winning them at the force level is not always best. While it's justice, it's not always best. We have to strive to get them as far as the CCJ. So the CCJ will see the wickedness of the PPP. Somehow, somehow. So even if the compensation or whatever they give you're not satisfied with, you have to cry higher. They often time they come to say they want to settle. Let us settle. They don't want to embarrass, so they want to settle. So that will not be the interest.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They destroyed that church, the church where the young man, as we say in the village, was churched. Before he was buried, they went into that church and destroyed that church. Inside there, live bullets were found in that church. And the media were not there. The president was not there.
And let me say this too. Yeah. That the political gymnast who said that charges are coming. Charges best be coming for those who stoned and threw missiles at the installed Minister of Home Affairs and other government officials. I do hope that charges are coming against those.
You mean the people at Monrepo?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen some of those. I've seen some of those videos where they were manhandling the Minister of Defense, who was a black man, who is a black man.
My learned friend and political gymnast, I do hope charges are coming for them. Because once again, you will be embarrassed. Legal proceedings of discrimination and racial inconsistent with the Constitution of Ghana will be brought against your administration. So you give yourself more work.
Lord, yes. We're really up against it in this country, but thanks to people like yourself, thanks to all those who have decided to come out into the open programs like these, thanks for the people who come onto the program. You all have filled all the seats tonight, and we are 15% above capacity tonight. Thanks to you for keeping faith with us on this program and other programs. Darren, the The legal system is a very important weapon. And sometimes our people use, they lose faith because we've lost charges with cases and so forth. Speak to us about the importance of using the courts, using the justice system to bring relief to people and to bring justice.
It is my respectful opinion that the judiciary is an equal branch of government. The judiciary has the role to play interpretation and application of the law, and while doing that, to protect citizens from government. And I believe that was one of the arguments for the establishment of the CCJ, the protection of people from the government excess. What we are seeing in Guyana is government excess by the PPP administration. Yes, there were one politician who said that the CCG is what was the word in Parliament that was said? If you could, Comrade Hinds, oh, no weapon. When Comrade Trotman said no weapon that form against us shall prosper, the one person said that that weapon is the CCG. So if wise men of opinion believe the CCG is a weapon against them, I implore them trust the judicial system. Let us file an application. Let us challenge the court, challenge them, because it is one, at least it's one more job they have to do in the courts,
Mm-hmm.
and to have
Mm-hmm.
faith and trust in the judicial system. I have no, at this point in time, I believe that the court is an important branch of government. American realism says that we are all human beings and we all have faults, and judges have faults like all of us. I think David Granger didn't know that when he was in power. That we are all human beings and we all have faults. He believed that in this utopian way that everybody is so perfect. People imperfect. Regardless of who you are, you have your biases and prejudices. And it will reflect itself in all branches of government, including the courts. And once you understand and appreciate that, you will have no fear of approaching the court. And that is
Mm-hmm.
why there are different tiers in the system. There is the court of assistance, there's a court of appeal, there's the CCG. Because we understand that as human beings we could make faults. We understand that as human beings we have our prejudice and our faults, and errors are going to happen. I think a perfect example of that is the U.S. judicial system, where American realism, they say, and that's why once a government in power, they try their best to have a lot of federal and Supreme Court judges and so forth, because they understand it very well and the importance of the judiciary.
Darren, what do you make of the PPP's announcement that they are going to launch a commission of inquiry into the 2020 elections?
I believe that commission of inquiry is going to be met with strong objections, because it's going to be a court battle. It won't be a walk in the park. We are not going to allow the PPP to get away with anything. And once again, I want to thank and salute Mr. Roysdale Ford. He's doing an excellent job. There's no words could explain of the gratitude. He's an outstanding attorney. He's working tirelessly. I don't know if he sleeps. I sometimes, while I do a lot of work and so on, sometimes I believe that I'm not giving him the support that I should be doing. I feel guilty, of the support that I believe that I am aware that he needs, that I'm not giving to him, albeit I'm doing my work and so forth. But I salute him.
Yes,
Bow
yes,
to
yes.
him.
And yeah, yeah. And you have attorneys assisting like Selwyn Peters and like yourself and Nigel Hughes, and like we say, Young Anderson is now coming into the forefront, and we need more lawyers. We need more lawyers. I've said on this program before, when I was a young man starting out in politics and would you get charged every day and so on. I had two lawyers. The late Peter Britton, who was a luminary, he volunteered and he reminded me up until the end of his life, I was your lawyer when he was a young man. Peter Britton and Benji Gibson, another sterling lawyer. But lawyers would volunteer. Each of us even us in the WPA had our own lawyer. And in my case, I had 2 lawyers. And these were not lawyers at the bottom of these were lawyers at the top. Peter Britton, as we know. I think Peter might have taught you at UG.
Sadly, when he died around the time that I started University of Ghana.
Okay.
But he's from my area.
Yes.
I'm from Uptown, West Bobbiton. So yes.
Yes, and his daughters now.
There.
Yes, his daughters now taking up.
Let me say this. You know, I see someone wrote something concerning the incident at Wasteman and so forth recently, and they like to say 26th of May is a sad day, and certainly I'm not fully aware of what transpired at Wasteman on the 26th of May. I can't remember what year it was.
1964.
What transpired, if anyone was killed, it was wrong. You know, it's a terrible, any loss of death, violence against any group of people is wrong. It's wrong. I like to bring to fore, there's a village that is squeezed between Woodley Park and Bath Settlement. It is a village that we call number 12. Currently, no blacks live in that village. It is an African ancestral village. What happened there in 64? Those persons, the Britton family, Cyprus, the various families who were living there, who wasn't beaten, were killed and chased to Oak Tongue. The Britton family being one. You're talking about Britain to Britain. A black ancestral village between Bath Settlement and Woodley Park. Today, all of the graves are painted in green. In Granger. They still go back there and bury the dead.
Wow, that's news for us here on this program. I had not heard that piece of history. Yes, and in
addition to that, and that's why I'm so disappointed with Irfan Ali, because I thought him being a Muslim, and I believe Muslims are very peaceful people, he would have done something like Nelson Mandela or something, some Peace and Reconciliation Commission where we go and we talk what transpired. Our Indian brothers and sisters share their experience. Our African brothers share their experience and their struggles. And then we say, okay, we understand and appreciate all the wrongs that we have done in the past, and let us move forward. But it's clear that little boy, as you call him, that baby, that little infant, fake degree, University of IFA student, he has no interest in peace and unity. Is one Guyana is having Samuel Medas sing one Guyana. That is one Guyana for him. That is it. You have young black boys and young girls, black girls dance. You get a young black girl do an introduction for Barry Jack. You will go about to speak. That is their one Guyana. But when the food is sharing, the crumbs that fall, you get, but them and their friends having the big pie. That is their one Guyana. I could go back to, because of various experience. In my family, there's a picture of a truck coming out of the Myconi and the Barry Creeks. I think it was a Marion white truck with bodies from Myconi Creek in 1964. Lincoln Lewis was my cousin, I have an uncle, whereby they were shot and they burned down the places them in a Barry in 1964. And we need to tell the truth, because people, as you mentioned there about the wolves and the dog, is this fear that they're putting that black people, as you mentioned, made, are the wolves, that we want to rape the other tribe? That fear, that narrative that the PPP newspaper, that is very sympathetic towards the PPP guy in the Times, they're doing their, I'm on that street right up the road on Atfield Street, where the Kisuns and Kisun Law Chambers are. We know what transpired there to the Abrams family. Was that 1964 as well?
Yes. Then that family, everyone's parish except one daughter.
Shady Jagan government, where Shady Jagan had removed that man from his office as premier, remember?
That man was the permanent secretary there. Yeah.
That man was ill-treated by Jagan himself. Before, even if Jagan didn't give the order to go and burn down the house, his acolytes to go and throw bomb there.
Yes. Yes, that entire family perished except one daughter. I met her a couple of times at conferences. Um, and, when you listen to her, my goodness. Politics 101 tonight, we are chatting here with Attorney Darren Wade. We are talking about all the issues in the news. And of course, you have been quite supportive here tonight. We have gone past our target number, and we've had to bring in some more seats. Darren, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you really want to touch on?
No, I just want to wrap up by saying that this struggle must be an expansive coalition. Everyone must understand that they have a role to play. We have a role to play in ensuring that this regime, this unlawful, illegal, racist, corrupt regime falls. They have a role to play. And how do you do that? By doing the democratic process. As you mentioned, we have the courts. You mentioned we have the ballots. We have to insist on having a clean slate, a clean list, and so forth. We have to lobby for this thing. Those who are overseas, speak to your congressmen. I was in the States the other day. I was able to meet with Akeem Jeffries. Speak to all of those persons. Call them up and let us demand a clean list. I see my cousin. I refused because she's very close to me. During my struggles growing up and so forth, and I have the greatest love for her. But sometimes I refuse to address anything that deals with her. To address anything in the public really and truly. In relation to her work. That
Yes.
is a close relative of mine, the chairman of the, we're from the same village. Every single thing, our mother Auntie Dora was very close to me and treated me wonderful. So, but I want to let her know that I'm praying for her daily, and I'm praying that God may strengthen her. That's what all I think.
Do you think she's right in the decision she took in relation to not doing a review of the election? GCOM not doing a review of the election?
I wouldn't answer whether or not she was right or wrong, but what I could say and what I thought of, I believe that because of all of the issues in the election, one will want to believe that it would have been prudent for one to. I'm not that RC, I don't know what the resource, I don't know what are the issues and arguments are, but one may want to review one system to see where the failures were.
Yes.
Is that a good response?
Yeah, well, yes. You're a lawyer. Lawyers are more careful than political scientists and those of us in other disciplines. My young brother, Aaron Wade, who has already written his name very, very, very clearly in the annals of contemporary politics and society in Guyana. It's good to see young people standing up in the glare, because one of the problems we have is this self-censorship. I can't do this because I'm working for the government. I can't do this because my child gets a scholarship. I can't do this because of this and that and so on. And I think we Black people have to stop that. We are not a fearful people. We are not cowards. And it was Mahatma Gandhi who said, if I had a choice between cowardice and violence, I will choose violence. That's Mahatma Gandhi, the prince of nonviolence. And I make that point not to tell you to choose violence, but to say you can't choose cowardice.
I want to say John Lewis said that we must get into good trouble.
Good trouble.
Good trouble.
Yes. And so many people, as emancipation is coming, let us get brave. Let us get brave. What go before us lies the open grave. That's what Bob McKay said. Like men with our backs to the wall, we dying but fighting back. We can't afford to choose cowardice. Cowardice is death. Cowardice is death. It's a sin. And Black people, you all got to stop being cowards. Come out of the shadows. Yes, not all of us will go in front with a big placard, but none of us must hide from the truth. None of us. None
And
of us.
I want to say something. The other day I had a little back and forth with a young man. One of the best singer we have in Guyana, and one of the best in the Caribbean, a gospel singer, Mr. Samuel Midas. I think he's an excellent singer. He has a lot to contribute to Guyana, the Caribbean, and the wider world. In doing his gospel, I remember he competed in the Soca Monarch and he won. I believe people chastised him. I supported him. When he was in the Soca Monarch and so forth. Despite of our little back and forth um, um, on social media on his role in the One Guyana. Well, I see someone is saying here, Mr. Jeffrey, I was born at number 12 village. It no longer exists. Destroyed by the bar settlement. Cyprus, Britain was killed. Yes, I wasn't wrong. House burned down to the ground. The blacks don't. Yes, you see, yes. So this is a man, Mr. Trotman, who is saying that he is from number 12, and he was one of those people who was. Can you see the comment coming up there?
Yes, yes, I'm seeing it. I put it on the screen
Yes.
for our viewers to see it. Yeah.
And
yes.
one day I want to visit number 12 and go to the burial ground there and just so guys people see that village people were beaten out of that village. Yes,
I would certainly love to accompany you to go there. I've not heard of this story before, and we thank God because
we would probably get Lincoln Lewis. I will speak to my cousin Lincoln Lewis.
Yes.
Yourself. And during this month here, we could drive up to number 12. We could get Agda, and we could go and do some libation as well in number 12.
Yes. Yes, you're right. I would love to. It's a revelation here tonight about number 12, West Coast Bobbies. You've learned it right here on the show. And quite a story. I would love to go there.
Let me say this to you. Let me raise the point here. Cyprus, Britain, that was killed. One was killed. He has a daughter that has three children who are very close to me, who are actually nieces of the chairman herself, our brother chairman.
Yes, and
this is a true story, not his liar. So I'm happy that Mr.
Somebody was
brought it up here.
Yes. Quite a revelation here tonight. We have heard those stories in the United States, but we didn't know that it happened right here in our country. Attorney Darren Wade really helping us here tonight, looking deep within ourselves. My brother, good night and thank you.
I want to go back. I want to conclude because you brought up the stuff with the number 12 here. I want to go back to the history of Mr. Samuel Midas. Samuel, I love you as a brother. I have no ill against you. Anyone of you who associate or with this charade. Look, so another person from Region 5. I don't know where this. I could remember them putting fire under my father-in-law house. They were, and all these things. People in Region 5, and I guess that I am on the people in Region 5 will now be a lot of people in Region 5 are probably listening, so they now will remember that experience in Region 5 and so on. What transpired here in '64, as I mentioned in my Kunda Barry Creek. One man who I understand lived up to recently, who was in a boat, his neighbor, good, wonderful Indian people. They placed him in a boat and they threw leaves on him. That's how the story has been told. And they eyed him. And that's how he survived, because his neighbor, they were not. I see another person from Region 5. I think Carol Norris, she's from there too. Now they fence the entrance of our burial ground. When I investigated one tack who said he was given permission by the NDC, no one, you see that Darmlal? So that is the issue. Wow. Revelation. I confronted the minister and in my presence asked that the residents be called out, and his phone went unanswered. So I would want to say to Karen Norris, we will look into that because your Bergon is ancestral land, and those are important issues. And if Darren and the NDC, we'll take the NDC to court. Because whilst we were beaten out from there, where our bones are buried, we must be allowed to go there because the burial ground is always an important part in African tradition and so forth.
And here is someone saying, I have renewed respect for Wade. Mr. Wade, you now need to relinquish the Europeanized version of Christianity and you'll be an effective leader in due time.
But let me the European version of Christianity. Let me say to
I
that,
like
brother.
to say,
let me say
I like to say to my brothers and sisters, it was black people who humanized Christianity. That is why in America they talk about the black church. And when you talk to the Rastafarians, they call themselves black Christians.
And the thing about it, the Ethiopians worship Christ before any with European. The Ethiopian worship Christ before the Europeans, their Bible, everything were there.
Ernest is telling us that the Abraham family, Anne was the only one safe. I think she lives in Canada now. Yes. So one of the good things about getting a chance to really chat without a particular topic is that so many things came out here tonight. And people from West Bobis, we didn't know that so many of you are on the program. And I have to confess that I've been threatening to come to those villages and to meet with the communities, hold meetings and so forth. And I've not had the chance yet to do it. But Region 5, I say on this program all the time, West Bobis is one of my favorite areas. I have family in 28. The James is my family there in number 28. That's near to you there.
So you're one of your parents are one of your parents from West Bobis by chance?
Yeah, one of my grandparents. The James family. There's some of them in Buxton and some of them there in 28.
I was speaking to my grandfather a few days ago. I was in the States. You will know him. He spent a lot of time in Buxton because his grandmother, I think it's Miriam Allen, he said was her name, or Mariam Allen from Buxton. My grandfather's name is Ardley Liverpool. They used to call him Black Prince.
Okay.
His father is a Buxtonian, but he was raised in Georgetown. But he spent a lot of time as holiday in Buxton Line Top. That's where he spent a lot of his day.
Yes, that's where I'm from Buxton Line Top.
My grandfather was the person when the Surinamis came into Guyana. And it probably is the most celebrated military officer in the Guyana Defense Force history. Because they tied him up in the aircraft. You will know the story more than me. They tied him up in the aircraft and put him in the plane with a gun, the GPMG gun. And they were able to fire out and the Suriname flee from the New River Triangle. And that is how Guyana regained that part of our country. A lot of people didn't know the Surinames came in and took over the triangle, the bottom part of Guyana. And they were occupying it. And the then leader formed, if we cannot stand up against a little country like Suriname, what would the Venezuelan make of us? Those days there, the state was out of chung.
Yes. Quite a show tonight, and I'm very glad, Darren, that we had this chance to talk. Everybody's saying there are more stories that they don't want the Guyanese to remember, and it is true. History is pregnant with a lot of these stories, and we're not saying on this program Black people were the only victims, of course. Indians.
No, I said that. I did say. Let the record reflect that I did say. The incident that I learned about in Wismar, and also there's some Chapman as well, but any raping and killing of any individual, once it is true, it is unacceptable. It should not be tolerated. I did say that, so, I just want the record to reflect that.
Yes.
And I also said the importance of a peace and reconciliation
commission.
Peace and reconciliation commission, whereby we can say what is right and wrong. And we can apologize.
Yonat is reminding us here the burning of the Assis butcher shop in Bobis and the killing of Minister Saw. So they're on both sides. There have been victims on both sides. But
and there are many Indian supporters. There are many Indian supporters of the right. I love you, and it made that point. Many Indian supporters of the PNC that cannot what do you call it? Cannot sleep in their villages. They are terrorized.
Right, yes.
They have to be. They're supporting the opposition support the PNC. I support black man. They're terrorized nighttime. They can't sleep.
Yeah. Well, my brother, I think we have reached that time that Sherrod is ready to kick off with
Right.
Under the
We
Bell.
can't get to the Sherrod time. Yes.
So thank you very much, and thank you, those of you who have come down tonight. I'm going to be back on Tuesday night, but I may be on some of the other shows. So until I see you next week on Politics 101, be good to yourself and keep up the struggle. Keep up the struggle. Because, as Martin Carter says, all of us are involved. All of us are consumed. All of us are involved. All of us are consumed. Good night.